And I'm Heather. This week's project is Dewithon. Continuing on, Dewithon reading and Dewithon vlogging. Last week, everything went sort of off course. Not a lot of reading, not a lot of vlogging due to my life being a crazy sometimes. But this week I think we're better. Apart from I have to go to Manchester with friends this weekend to see Lizzo, who I love. But other than that, I think we can devote more time to the project. Thank God. Okay. If you saw me last week, you would have heard me say several times that I was definitely going to read this book. And also you've seen several times I did not do that yet. And I apologize for that, but this week we're definitely getting to it 100%. It is We Don't Know What We're Doing by Thomas Morris. It's short stories, and I'm certain I'm going to love it. Why I haven't gotten to it yet, dear God, only knows. Also, hopefully we won't just get to this book this week, because one book a week isn't my vibe. I want to get to several books. So, onward. We've just had a text off the school to say that school is open. I imagine in response to a flood of phone calls from parents asking if there's going to be a snow day, if school's going to be cancelled for today. And it's like fluffing outside. It's like a light dusting of snow on the road, if you will. It's not even sticking to the road. It's just hitting a wet road and dissolving like rain. And now the WhatsApp group, there's like a WhatsApp group for parents. It's all going off as well. Like, do you think school will be cancelled? I haven't heard any announcements, blah, blah, blah. And like, Wales cracks me up. I love it. I remember when I was a kid in Colorado, right? Like, and I know, you know, places with a lot of snow, there's no comparing them. But I remember in Colorado in the 90s, the bus drivers were hard as nails. I think our bus driver was called like Miss Sandra or something. I can't remember. Anyway, she used to wear like fingerless leather gloves, and she like smelled and sounded like she spoke like 4 packs a day, and she knew everyone, you know, and she'd like welcome you on the bus. She'd be like, "Hey, where you been? I haven't seen you in weeks. How's your mom? She said she'd get me jam," you know, like that. She was like amazing and hilarious. But the bus drivers for the school buses, they used to put chains on their tires the night before a blizzard warning so that they would never have to cancel school. Like, I think, you know, despite all of the blizzards and all of the snow that we had in Colorado at that time, I think I maybe had 1 snow day a year the entire time I lived there. But like these sort of bus drivers or whatever, they'd be going up these like rural roads or these like really slick like blizzard roads, and like the bus is sort of going backwards a bit, and the kids are sort of looking out going, not sure about this, you know, and the bus driver's like, "Oh, it's okay. I once did this with a tractor trailer in Alaska in '74. I've seen worse than this." Okay, so I know this vlog is supposed to be a reading vlog. I don't know what's happened this month. It's the 10th of the month, and I've only read 2 and a bit books, despite it being Dewithon and me wanting to read loads. Even in a normal month, when I don't have like any sort of reading goals, I would have read more at this point. I think it's just a collection of things being crazy. But also, like, I don't know, my mind just isn't in it. I sat down just now to read this, and ended up instead in a Eurovision 2023 deep dive. I can't say I didn't enjoy it. Yesterday is when they launched the UK's entry song. And on first listen, I didn't like it. I was very devastated by that. But then we had to have a conversation about it, all of us. You know, we had to listen to it again. And then we had to listen to every other song that's been launched by other countries for Eurovision this year. And then we had to talk about those. And then we had to listen to our song several more times with deep listening ears and discussion. And now, after that, I feel like I'm for it. I feel like I'm for the song now. And I feel like it's a bop. You know, so I like our chances. However, I've just gone into the bookies odds, like the bookmakers, like the betting people. Like a lot of money hinges on them guessing the right thing, you know, in the right order. So loads of times they nail it, you know, or like very close. So at the minute, their number one that they think it's going to be is Sweden. And Sweden hasn't even launched their person yet. We don't even know what their song and their singer will be. Like, Sweden's just that good at Eurovision that they just guess it's going to be them anyway. Like, they do have a competition, like, within their own country, like an intra Eurovision, to, like, the winner then goes on to Eurovision, you know, like it's like a pre-Eurovision just for Sweden. And I think the end of that is this month, so they must have finalists. So maybe like the bookies are looking at like the 3 or whatever finalists, going, any 3 of those is just gonna like win Eurovision, it's fine. And the next one down is Ukraine. Last year, like, don't even get me started, they beat us. They got first and we got second, and I thought their song was hit. Okay, but this year the bookies have them at second, and their song is actually quite good. I quite like it. Also, the singer I quite like. Anyway, that's why I didn't read this book. Also, I think I'm gonna listen to the songs again, and then text several people about my thoughts. So I'm not gonna do this for a bit of time yet. Also, it is a work day, so work has to happen at some point. Okay, while I'm listening to these songs, I'll fire off a couple emails so people know I'm still here, and then I'll do actual work. But yeah, let's discuss this, shall we? After I sort myself out and like shower, and like, this is a wreck of a situation. I'm gonna sort that out first. Okay, I will get to the book in a minute. I promise I will talk about this book and give you an update. However, something first, I'm looking at the long list of the Women's Prize that they've just released, and I see one on there. Sophie McIntosh. Okay, so Sophie McIntosh is Welsh, and she wrote The Blue Ticket, which I really liked. It was like a sort of dystopian book about sort of like forced, or like really strong laws and like forced reproduction type things, like creepy shit like that. So I realized on my list of Dewithon books that I've sort of got for this month, I don't really have any audiobooks. I didn't do that on purpose. That was 100% an accident, because I love an audiobook, but I think I was so focused on just sort of like collecting them, stacking them up, getting them ready. Audiobooks sort of slipped my mind. So this one is called Cursed Bread. And I was like, ooh, they have it on Audible. See what we can do. Reading through the blurb, I'm like, do I want to read it? Do I want to read it? I don't know. An elegant and hypnotic new novel of obsession that centers on the real unsolved mystery of the 1951 mass poisoning of a French village. What? Still reeling in the aftermath of the deadliest war the world has ever seen, the small town of Pont-Saint-Esprit collectively lost its mind. Some historians believe the mysterious illness and violent hallucinations were caused by spoiled bread. Others claim it was the result of covert government testing on the local population. I'm done. I'm in. I've just bought that book. I don't even need to read the rest of this long-ass blurb. I'm down. So, I'm reading book... what the fuck is it? I keep losing it. Anyway, I'm reading that, but also, concurrently, I'm going to listen to this one. Cursed Bread, Sophie McIntosh. Go!
Like, it's such a big vehicle, you'd just be like... Honest to God. Want the love, I want your spirit. The more I want, the more I need it.
Not like a regular mom, I'm a cool mom.
Guys, my dog has stopped eating. Like, he's really old. And like, he doesn't walk very well anymore, even though he still gets excited for like a bit of a mini walk outside. But like before, he sort of went off food a bit, and I was able to sort of coax him to eat, you know, to sort of put something gross on there, like sardines or something. Sort of wave it in front of his face and be like, oh, you want this? You know, and he'd be like, okay, yeah, I do want that. But now, like, I can't even get him to do that. Like, I sort of just spent ages trying to get him to eat food, and he's just sort of like, sort of sighing and sort of moving his head away. Now I'm really worried about him, and like a bit depressed about how dogs get old. And this book, it's okay. I mean, like, also Curse Bread, I'm about halfway through that. And like, it's also okay. Like, they're not bad, these books, they're just okay. Also, my neighbors keep hotboxing the room, like, just next to mine. Like, we live in a terrace, so like, our house, our left wall, or like our right wall is their left wall, and so on down the line, you know, like in a connected line of houses. And they're old. Houses are like 150 years old, so there's like, you know, little holes and things in them. Like, whenever there's sort of someone down on the end whose like house looks like really dirty and rough or whatever and scruffy or abandoned, I think, oh, there's gonna get mice in there, and then the mice are gonna make their way through like the bits of holes or whatever, and then I'm gonna get mice. Like, anyway, they keep hotboxing the room right next to my kids' room, like toking up in there at like 9 p.m. and it's like going through the little holes and like making my kids' room stink. I just think like, I have no problem with toking up for bedtime, okay, but just when you live in this kind of house, like, open a fucking window, okay? Don't hotbox yourself. You're just being a dick now. Also, just have an edible like the rest of us, okay? It's a considerate thing to do. Like, I don't know what to say about it. Like, they seem okay, but like, I don't want to just be like, hey, you know, you're smoking such a much. Like, I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that person. But obviously my kid can't just continue to live her life in a room that stinks of weed in the worst possible way all the time. This is just not a great day. Anyway, this book, okay? We Don't Know What We're Doing by Thomas Morris. It's short stories. So with any sort of short story collection, you're going to get stories you love, stories you're not really fussed on, stories you hate, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same for this one. I think as a collection, it's hard to like review it, you know, because so many of the stories, like, I thought were a bit boring, but some of them were really good and I like them. I think overall, this is the kind of collection that makes readers of fiction more empathetic in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's a myth, that readers of fiction are more empathetic or not, but I feel like it's a thing. Like, maybe just because I read fiction and want to feel like I'm more empathetic, but it's a kind of collection where nothing really happens. There's no real like forward plot or whatever. There's like the characters themselves, like, it's character driven, but they're not particularly interesting characters doing interesting things. They're just really mundane sort of people doing really mundane sort of things, but you're in their heads while they're doing them. So it sort of pushes you then to sort of be like on the road later and see a guy and be like, oh, that reminds me of the guy in the story, you know, like, what's he thinking? He's looking at that bird. What's he thinking about that bird? You know, things like that. Or like on the bus and be like, oh, this bus driver, you know, it reminds me of the guy whose wife, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if he's thinking about his wife. Anyway, all the characters in it are from Caerphilly, which is a sort of smallish town outside Cardiff. Like, it's within commuting distance of Cardiff, but it's sort of far enough away and sort of cut off enough to where it's not really a suburb of Cardiff. It's like its own thing, you know, and all the people in the story are from there and they live there. And they've plateaued in some way, like they've sort of dead-ended in their careers or their lives or whatever, or are sort of coming to the end of them, and they're sort of like, they're a bit stalled. There's no sort of forward progression in their lives. There's like one where this guy, he's like twice widowed and he asks this woman out. And then a series sort of events between him asking her out and the actual date, sort of, he suddenly realizes he's quite old. You know, what's he doing? Like, being like a fox, like trying to catch all these women or whatever. Like, he sort of hits a point where he's like, what am I doing? Like, I shouldn't be doing this. Anyway, loads of the stories I did really like, and some of them were just like a bit boring, so we'll see. And Cursed Bride, I'm halfway through that one. It's a novella, I think. Like, the audiobook is only like 3 hours long. And it's this village in France just after the war, sort of like really early 50s. And the main character is the baker's wife. She's pretty happy with her life, you know, like she's been through hard times, obviously, with the war. And now has abundance, you know, enough food, enough money, whatever. Like, she feels like happiness is coming back into her life. But her husband, he's a provider and he doesn't beat her or anything, but he's not like particularly loving, you know, he's not the love of her life. Like, her life could be better there. And these two Americans move into the village, these like high profile Americans, like the American ambassador or something ridiculous, and his beautiful, graceful wife. And they just shake everything to fuck up in the village. Like, this baker's wife now is like obsessed with this ambassador's wife and is like constantly hanging out with her and wants to like be her. But there's something up with them. Like, the ambassador guy is like really controlling of his wife and like gets off on it, you know, like that sort of guy. And the woman, like, she's trying to live her life and recognizes that she's in like a position of power and wealth or whatever, but she's also like under the thumb of her husband in like the grossest sort of way. And there's also something up with the bread. So considering that the story is about like a mass poisoning or like a mass hysteria / delusion situation in a town, like, I guess, yeah, the bread potentially is poisoned or whatever. Like, it's a true story. I did like a Wikipedia search or whatever about this city, this town in France, where they think it could have been one of two things. It could have been that the bread went off and the baker didn't notice or whatever, and then everyone ate the bread. Or it could have been like a sort of government experiment on the people. So I think at the minute they're trying to allude that there's just something up with the bread, and potentially the ambassador's wife knows there's something up with the bread, but we don't know. Maybe that's just hinting, you know? So I think it's okay. It's just, yeah, it's quite character driven, so it's not going forward really at all, and it's quite poetic. Like, she's sort of sometimes in the moment where things are happening and sometimes sort of talking about it from the future, you know, like looking back on it. And it's just sort of hit snags every once in a while where I just think, ugh, can we fast forward through this bit? It's a bit boring. But anyway, I'm not hating that one either. It's just a day of meh. Like, even the weather outside, like, it's not raining, it's not sunny, it's not cold, it's not warm, it's just grey. It's just meh. Ugh. I've parked here next to my kids' school because it's raining cats and dogs. I didn't want to walk. But I've just sort of put my car here, and now I notice there's some sort of like police, like ongoing policing situation right behind me. Like, they're not clearing the road or anything, or telling me I can't be here, or looking even, you know, that serious, really. I don't know if you can see him, but he's like right by, yeah, he's there. Do you see him? There's clearly something going on. There's like 4 of them, and they're all looking up at this like top here, this like house there, and like the open window, like there's some sort of incident, and I feel like I should move my car, but also like I don't want to go past him again. He is just in the road looking up at that window like someone's about to jump it. I don't know, or like try to escape. Maybe it's like a bust, like they're gonna get him but they think he might jump out of the window. Shit, that guy just took off running. He just took off, he went around the corner. Oh, fuck. Oh, I definitely don't want to get out of my car. Shitting hell, maybe it's like a stabby. There's like kids around here, it's like a school. Must not be that bad. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, here. What's the first thing?
First thing is this.
Ooh, shit. That's the good stuff. Okay, keep going.
This.
Oh, cute. Oh, I love that. Is that for me? Oh, yeah, that's big people socks. Okay, next.
These.
Oh, shit. jelly beans! Jolly Rancher jelly beans! Oh, this is the best America has to offer. Ooh, these look gross. You can have that.
Yay! It's a lollipop.
Peeps creep me out. Babe, they're peeps.
I love peeps.
Guys, I just made a zine about how crap things are. And it cheered me up all the way. Okay, like, I don't know what my situation has been this week. Like, I've been all up in my feelings. Just pitiful and anxious and feeling sorry for myself. Like, the weather's grey. It hasn't been going well. Okay, but I just cheered myself up a whole shitload by making a zine about it called Everything is Me. Okay, so I made the zine by cutting out a bunch of shit, you know? And then sort of like drawing in bits and like adding bits of stuff. And this is like the original version. It's like the cut out sort of raggedy glued on bit. So at work today, I scanned it into the scanner and then printed off a new copy, which is like all just normal paper and stuff. Like, it's just like a normal zine. It's completely papery and I stapled it in the middle. Oh my god. And it's just basically about how everything is me. And holy shit. That cheered me right up. Oh my god. Now I'm gonna have to do a zine about how nothing is me. I just feel way better. God, zines. These are just fucking amazing. I love zines so much. Anyway, I was also gonna say something else. And I have forgot. Oh yeah, books. Books. I finished them. The two. The audiobook and the book. Let's chat lately. Okay. First one. We Don't Know What We're Doing by Thomas More story collection. This one started out super me. This is on my me list this week. And it's in my me zine, actually. So the first couple stories, I just couldn't get on with it. Like, I sort of got what the author was trying to do, you know, like sort of find beauty in the mundane, you know, poetry in circumstances which aren't sort of obviously poetic. Do you know what I mean? But I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't getting into it. I was having a hard time. I found them quite boring. However, about like a little bit before halfway maybe, all of the stories started to click. And I think it just takes you a couple stories to get properly into the groove of this collection. You know what I mean? Like, it's a full vibe. And if you're not already in the vibe when you start the reading, you've got to bring yourself into the vibe by reading a couple of the stories. So once I was in the vibe, like fully clicking with what the author's like trying to do here, you know, like all of the characters are stuck and they don't know why they're stuck, how to be unstuck. They're just stuck. And everything around them, everything they describe, everything they think, the people they meet, it's all beautiful and it's so poetic and lovely and wonderful, even though on the surface it's shit. Do you know what I mean? And all of the stories are like that. I think I need to go back and read those first couple stories that I wasted by trying to get into the vibe, first of all. I think I'm going to go with this one. I think I'm going to go 4 stars. Like, I really enjoyed it, like all the way to the end, even though for the first sort of maybe half of it, or a little bit less than half, it was fully meh for me. And this is like one of those things where I'm always like, I need to DNF things, I need to just stop being a princess about books, I need to just accept that if I read half a book and I don't like it, that it's not going to get any better. Why would it get better? And like, to be fair, books like this I think are rare. Like, they are the exception. Most books that are shit halfway through are just always shit, and I need to accept that about things and still DNF things. But you get a rare sort of book like this where I'm so glad I didn't DNF it. It got so much better. Oh my god. Anyway, 4 stars for that one. I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad that Dewithon is going so well. Okay, Cursed Bread. This one ended up being crazy. Like, in a weird kinky sexual way. Like, I think in the end it's about like obsession. Or like seeing other people and like, I don't know, envy? Like deep envy? Or I don't know, like maybe how your obsessions clog your mind and make you feel like other people can't see your obsessions, you know, when really they can. I don't know. Anyway, I really like the ending. I'm not going to give away a lot because I feel like I didn't know a lot about the ending, and damn, it sort of hit me. But I like how it ended, and I did a deep dive into the real story, and the real story like doesn't match it very well. Do you know what I mean? Like, the real story is like really quite mundane. Like, they're pretty sure that that was just like bread that went off, you know, like rye that had that like weird like bacteria in it that it kills people or eats people's brains or whatever. They made a way more interesting story out of this, or Sophie McIntosh did, but I liked it. It was a bit risque. Like, I feel like mildly predictable, maybe sort of near into the end, and also maybe a bit overdone, like trying too hard in places. Like, okay, we get it, she's obsessed, you know. I don't know, but I liked it. I'm sort of maybe 4 stars for that one as well. That's another one that was a bit meh and then got way better. Shit. Oh my, okay, maybe I shouldn't DNF things. No, I should. I definitely should. Okay, that's it for this week. This one's way too long as it is. Okay, I'm moving on now, I think, to Revenant by Tristan Hughes. Shan at Pastory Time read a Tristan Hughes one for Dewithon and really enjoyed it, and a bit that she read out sort of like jived with me. I felt like that was sort of my scene. So I'm not going to read that one that she read, but this is the one that I have from the library, Revenant. I think the author lives in Wales or grew up in Wales or whatever, but maybe was originally Canadian, so his writing reflects that. It's got like rugged sort of Canadian wilderness landscapes, but like with sort of Welsh flavour, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited about that. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, any thoughts, literally anything for me, lay it on me. Do you have any thoughts about the books? About zines? You know, about grey weather? Hit me. I'm down. And I will see you next week. There's more weeks of Dewithon, right? What's today? Oh yeah, it's the middle of the month. Yeah, next week, Dewithon again. Okay, I'll see you.